This one was so special to me because there was no shorts in that one.
Yeah.
The million sat in that box for 6 months.
Same
and it was like, it's a million. And I'm like, it didn't mean what that
That's
one
so
did.
interesting.
So is this pop? Like soda?
Yeah, soda.
Okay. Thought it was beer.
Scotland, well, kind of an iron brew, yeah, it could. Is it like an us and them, or he's quite united? That's enough, thank you. I've been Cammy.
I've been Iona.
And we are both
Fed by Farmers.
Hello and welcome to the Fed by Farmers podcast with me, Cammy Wilson.
And me, Iona Murray.
Iona, before we introduce this week's guests, very big stars, we've had a lot of big stars on, more big stars this time, international stars. How has your week been?
I've had a good week. Thank you. Yes, how's your week been?
Steady, average.
Okay.
Average, but average is okay.
Yeah, average is
Average
okay.
is what I aspire to be. Tell me one thing you've done this week.
I went to the Free Company in Edinburgh.
Oh, this is exciting. What was free about it?
Well, it could have been free if I'd chosen it to be.
Is that okay? Tell us about that.
Because you pay what you think it's worth.
And you haven't actually specifically said what the thing is?
So it is a restaurant.
Okay.
So it's a farm and restaurant, and they use all their own produce that they've grown and reared on the farm in the restaurant. So yeah, it was amazing.
And then at the end you just decide what it's worth?
You just decide what it's worth.
How much did you pay?
So it's a kind of complicated one because
She didn't pay very much then.
I went
She didn't pay very much then.
I went with my friend who used to work there, and she'd said before we went they'll try and give us it for nothing, but she's like, I go far too often for that to be the case. Blah 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 blah. So in the end we paid, I think it came to like £118 each. And that was, we did the drinks pairing with it as well.
That sounds reasonable.
And it was, but maybe I should give a bit of background. It's like I could put the menu up, but it's like 7 courses. It's really nice.
Yeah, no, sounds lovely. I've done nothing as exciting as that. I can't actually. This is one of those weeks. I've been out filming with Landlord. That was good fun. Been to Peebles, been to a pig farm. Filming new things for the new season, which is coming very soon. As always, we have to thank our sponsors at this part of the show. We've got to thank Crystalyx and Animax Tracesure. Actually had to call on the services of Animax products this week.
Oh, what happened?
I had a ewe down with twin lamb.
What is twin lamb?
Twin lamb, it's like a pregnancy toxemia.
Right, okay.
It's essentially when now my vet friends and Kaz are not going to be happy with this, but it's essentially when the energy requirements of the pregnancy or the demand on the ewe becomes more than the energy that can be provided. You end up in like a negative deficit, and then the sheep ends up like off her feet, can't get up, or it might display as like staggers if she tries to get up and walk around. She's shaky on her legs and collapses. And it can obviously result in the death of the lambs and the death of the sheep. So I had to get some. Generally speaking, it's pretty simple. I say it's a simple fix. This ewe's an older ewe and she's heavy in lamb. But generally speaking, you'll be calcium and some sort of energy boost. I have a custom made cocktail that comes from the vet. Keto Solve, I think they call it. But you can get Yugo and various things like that. And it was the calcium I got from oral calcium supplement I got by Animax. So yes, thanks to our sponsors for that. More from them later in the show. And just one final thing before we introduce this week's guest. If you're watching YouTube and you like the clobber that Iona and I are wearing, this is some samples. These are not available yet, so don't get too excited, but we're like a couple of Power Rangers here. She's the blue Power Ranger, I'm the green Power Ranger, trying out the new fleeces for Fed by Farmers.
I prefer that one, I think.
Do you think so? I think yours might be the more feminine colour. I'm not sure. It's quite it's but yeah, they're very comfy. I would say that though. I would say that. But listen, if you want to support the podcast, please do check out the website, fedbyfarmers.co.uk, where you can purchase some clothing. Although we are very short stocked just now, there is a restock coming soon. The support has been incredible. Now, on to this week's guests. Who do we have?
Sandi and Mark Brock.
Of course, Sandi being from Sheepishly Me YouTube channel, absolutely massive, huge following, way over 1.1 million or 1.2 million subscribers. She was, when I started YouTube, I searched sheep farming on YouTube and Sandi Brock came up because she was nowhere near as big as she is now then, but she was big. And she was one of the only people, certainly one of the only English speaking channels doing sheep. And I thought, wow, this massive platform of YouTube, and there's hardly anyone doing it. So she was definitely a pioneer, and she's just a fantastic human being. Her husband Mark is a big-time arable farmer over there. They're from Ontario in Canada, and he talks a bit about that and some of the differences, because we went and visited Crawford's farm, and we could compare Scotland to Canada. So yeah, we get into a little bit of that, life as well, and family, and other issues they've had to overcome. We'll just get into it.
Let's get into it.
Here we go. Roll the VT. So here we are, our biggest stars so far on the podcast. Never mind this Hoof GP guy and all that nonsense. Ben from Dulscoin. We have Sandi and Mark Brock with us here today. Ontario, Canada.
Ontario.
Yep.
Can you narrow it down a bit more specific? Whereabouts?
You can do the navigation.
The geography. We're about 2 hours west of Toronto. Near.
That's like us saying we're near Glasgow.
I know, but that's we're big.
We are in
But do you not have a town?
We're in Scotland, so we're north of London, Ontario.
Yeah, we're north of London, Ontario, outside a small village called Hensel.
Hansel. Right, okay, there we go. So there we go. Some people are like, yeah, I know Hansel.
I know it from labels from Post and Parcels.
Yeah.
Hansel.
Have we sent stuff to Hansel?
Yeah, we have.
Is it big sheep country? That area?
Well, me.
Is that right?
I think there's another sheep farmer close by, actually.
There's a few,
Nathan
not very many.
Yeah.
Like, not of any size.
Okay, like you guys. So
we're infiltrating the countryside in Hensel.
You're making sheep cool again?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sheep great again.
Making sheep great again.
Yeah. That's right. Stick that in a red baseball cap. So, I mean, Sandi, you'll obviously be the most famous of the two here.
Very much so.
Maybe in this realm, yeah.
Yeah. And you're obviously Sheepishly Me. Is your YouTube channel for anybody that's living under a rock and hasn't seen Sandi on YouTube. Tell us a bit about your... In fact, let's start right at the beginning.
Sure.
Let's start for both of you. Let's get the origin stories. What's your background growing up?
Okay, yeah. I grew up in a little town called Paris, Ontario, and grew up as a dairy farmer's daughter. So we grew up milking cows. You've met my little sister. She's here with us touring. And yeah, so I'm not a stranger to a barn and to animals, and developed a love very early on for that life and that sort of job. Went to University of Guelph, and my second year, your third year? Third year?
My fourth year, actually.
My second year. Yeah. Mark and I were partnered together at we were doing a research job, and we got partnered together, and 2 weeks later, we were dating, and...
Yeah, my mom always said I was going to marry a tractor driver.
And he did.
Yeah.
And what were you studying at university?
I was studying agriculture business, and you were agronomy.
Yeah, crop science.
Okay. Oh, so you weren't even studying the same course?
No.
We were not in the same course, no. Like, still under the agriculture banner, but...
Yeah, and I suppose
we different specialized,
for where you're heading, because your original background, Mark, where are you from as a kid?
We now live on our family farm that I guess we'd be the third generation on it. My grandparents bought it. They weren't really farmers. We would call them more of a lifestyle farmer, where they would they had jobs in my grandma had a big garden, and my grandfather worked for a telephone company as a linesman.
Okay.
And then they had some beef cattle, some pigs, and some
like
other stuff.
Farm.
So a mixed farm. And then my dad was the first really generation of his two other brothers. He was the only one that ever farmed. And farming was really tough back then. So I think my grandma didn't talk to my dad for a month when he first bought the farm, because she didn't want him to be a farmer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that
maybe that's why you bought the farm.
Yeah. So we...
you typically do what your parents don't want you to do.
He was kind of a mama's boy, though. So
I think it was probably very devastating for him.
So we live on that farm now, and that's where the sheep barn is. But yeah, I went off to University of Guelph, which was our really only agricultural university in Ontario. And that's where we kind of met each other. And
what ages were you then? Like 20?
Yeah.
I would have been second year. That was 1996. I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah, so
like 21?
I'm old.
I think I was 21, and you were 23.
Yep.
I graduated when I was 23. We got married when I was 23.
Yep.
Had Jack when I was 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just
20 odd years together?
Yeah, 25 years. It'll be 26 years.
25 September was
Quarter
25
years.
years.
What is 25 as a... Is that...
Silver? Silver? I think it's silver.
Silver wedding.
I think it
I
might be
always
silver.
just argue it's a life sentence.
As you can tell, as you can tell, we're right on it. Like, no idea. We're lucky that we even just acknowledge it's the day.
Yeah. Like if you'd got a life sentence, you'd be out by now.
Yeah.
I think we've heard that. I think we've heard that one. Yeah.
So okay, you very good agricultural courses, met, true love story.
Yeah.
Almost high school sweethearts. Almost. Of course, 2 kids.
Yes.
Now you mentioned having Jack there.
Yep. And then Jessica 2 years later. So yeah.
And of course, both of them. I mean, the whole family is very well known on the YouTube channel because whether it's catching up with Mark when the harvest is on the go, or of course Jack's been on it. Maybe not so much recently.
Yeah, because he's flown the coop, so he's just not
doesn't
around.
Doesn't need you guys anymore.
He's just not here anymore.
Doesn't need you anymore.
It happens really fast, Cammy.
Until the bank balance runs low.
Yeah, true. Or he needs help with his basement.
Broken, but Jessica's obviously featured very heavily in the channel. You went through quite. I think it'd be good just to touch on that briefly, because it's been such a big part of the story the last 2 years, I suppose. Yeah,
for sure. So the kids have been a part of it because I started this journey. Like Jess was maybe 15. Like she was pretty young when I started YouTubing. So
what did she think of it when you started?
Well, my kids were the ones that got me into it, to be honest, because they grew up watching YouTube. Like, So, I mean, actually, my daughter Jess also YouTubes. So she has her.
Does her book?
She loves book. So she's big. She's more of a booktuber now. She likes to do book content and stuff. But they got me into it because like I was doing some other stuff like on other like Facebook and stuff like that, and they were. I just watched their behavior, and I'm like, they're always on YouTube. Yeah, didn't know anything about YouTube, and then I just started Googling like farm vlogs or stuff like that, and Cody Creelman, who was a vet out of Alberta, Canada, he was the one that I loved the way he did it because he's a vet, so he had like he had his whole day online. So it was like with his family in the morning, and then it was like out doing postmortems all day with cows. And then he'd come home and he'd always end the videos with his family again. And I was I love that setup. I love because for me, it's like at that point too, a lot of our organizations and stuff are like, tell your story. I'm like, there's got to be a good way to do it though. And I loved the way he did. He wasn't a farmer, but he was a vet, which can be just as, like he's working very closely with farmers.
They see more action as well because they're only going to problems all the time.
Yeah. And I'm like, I love that he brings the human element into it. And I'm like, that's what a lot of us are missing. Like we talk about how good we're doing stuff, and it's like he shows the bad too. I'm like, so I just wanted a real mix of like how it's not really the job we're doing, but who we are as humans. Yeah. So that's how it started. But anyway, about the kids. And then, so Jess has always sort of been a part of the channel because she's been sort of like my cheerleader. They help me figure stuff out online because I'm dumb and don't understand like some of the, like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And Jack will be like, Google it. And Jess will be like, I'll show you, Mom. So, she's very patient. But and when did this whole thing start? She went off to university after COVID. She took a year off during COVID.
So she worked on the farm.
She worked with Mark very closely.
It was fun to work with her for a year before she went off to university.
Yeah, and then she fell in love with grain farming actually. So
smart girl.
So she might be the one that comes home, but we'll see. Yeah. And then, but her first semester, she was having a lot of back pain, and bladder issues, just a lot of issues. And she's like, something's going on. So she booked a doctor's appointment. They did an ultrasound. And then we were out west when we got the call because they couldn't get a hold of Jess. And they're just like, we found a huge mass in your daughter's abdomen. Yeah. And we can't see around it, so we don't know what it is. It's not necessarily cancer, is what they said. Yeah. I was just like, okay, I wasn't even going there, but now I can't get out of there.
Yeah.
And so that was a horrible day. I cried for 6
and
hours
straight.
I think.
Fly home.
We're trying to get home. We were out west.
Just want to be with her.
I just wanted to see her because it's like when you get a news and you're not with them,
Oh.
it's like
and you're so
you
far
feel
away.
like it's
You're so
already
far away.
happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she didn't know yet. And Mark's like, don't tell her yet until we
Yeah.
get home. She's got to get home. She's in the middle of exams. So he's like, don't tell her
Yeah.
yet. So once we landed in Toronto and we were sort of halfway home, she finally called.
Yeah.
And by then I was like, once I heard her voice, I was like, phew. It was like something, there's a switch, mom
into
switch,
mum mode.
Yep.
Yeah.
protective. And then it was like, no more tears.
Yeah,
You're like, you
yeah.
have this strength that just washes over you. And you're like, nope, everything's fine. I'm gonna go to the doctor with you tomorrow, and we're gonna sit down and figure out what this is. So it ended up being a big dermoid cyst, which are very common in girls her age.
Yeah.
Which we've done a lot of research since.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
Imagine you start trying to find every
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
you
don't want to
stay off
ever
the
Google
internet.
that stuff.
Don't
But you still
Google
do
those
anyway.
things.
So
They're
it's
nasty.
hard, yeah.
So what ended up being is this mass was on her ovary, and they were scared. They were like, "No, we have to do emergency surgery because what that pain might be your ovary starting
Twisty.
to twist." Oh God! So they were like, and then you might not have an ovary, so we have to do this surgery as quick as possible. So yeah, so the surgery ended up being laparoscopic. They got it out. Recovery wasn't too bad.
Yep.
So we were like, okay, we're done. We're out of the clear. No, it wasn't. They took it for a biopsy.
All
she
good.
came back clear. They said typically they're not. Like
Yeah.
there's a 3% chance it would ever be
Cancerous. Yeah.
cancerous.
Okay.
So we were like, oh, good. So anyway, she went through the next year and all clear. And then January, the next January, so that would have been
Yeah.
last January 23.
23.
January 23.
Yep.
She was laying in her bed and she felt something protruding in the sort of the same
So
spot.
another-
And it was about the size of a plum, like a fist on
Your
the one
fist,
side.
yeah.
Big.
So she immediately went, this isn't good. So she called the doctor, got in the next day. He got her in for an emergency C-scan that day.
Good.
Because he's like, if you were my daughter, I'd want that checked. And he called her that night and he's like, it's already 16 centimeters.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
The first one was 19, the big one.
Yeah.
This one was already 16. And this one was, she had to get cut open. So it wasn't just laparoscopic. Same surgeon as the first time. And anyway, she finished surgery, came up to the room. I was up the room waiting for Jess, and she goes, that was really ugly. That was really bad. And we're like, and I'm like, okay. Like she's just totally different demeanor as when she finished surgery the first time. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, you may want to talk to your daughter about like freezing eggs. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like
for
I was just like,
a 20-year-old.
a 20-year-old
Yeah.
that like what? And then she's like, her ovaries are like that was a lot on, and as she said, it's the other ovary now. So we pulled off. She pulled off cyst on the other
both
both
ovaries,
ovaries.
yeah.
So both were affected, and we were just like, oh my god. We got in about 5 weeks later,
Yeah.
and that's when she was diagnosed. And
Yeah.
there was one cell that
Yeah,
was
it's funny how they
cancerous.
do it, but yeah, I guess
They do
biopsy the
slides.
thing and they do slides, and if they find cancerous type cells on so many slides, then it's like a grade 1 or a grade 2 tumor.
Okay.
So hers was bad enough that it was a grade 2, but the stage 1. So they assumed it hadn't spread,
Okay.
but there was enough cancerous tissue in the tumor that they're fairly concerned about it. So she ended up having to get chemo.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that she got clean.
Yeah. So then we retrieved eggs, and then she wrote her exams.
God, I can't believe
Yeah.
she's still
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
stuck
And
in.
passed. I can't
Yeah,
believe
she's
it.
so-
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Just like
She's-
you're not
she's
my
a lot-
you're
she's
not
a lot
my
more studious
you're
than
not
you.
my
Yeah.
child. I don't know how that
Yeah.
happened.
I failed half of mine. I don't have any bother.
God. And then I think surgery right after that, like April 26th,
Yeah.
she had surgery again
To remove
the
the
ovary,
ovary.
the one ovary.
That they were worried
So they're
about.
leaving one over. They left one ovary, took the one ovary, and then chemo started May 29th.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And it was chemo till August
11th.
and then she was done.
Yeah. Yep.
And tests since have been.
Yes, so she got a CT scan in November and everything was clean.
Yeah.
So the doctor was like, "You're good."
Good.
But it's still going to be like she had her first checkup since that one the day we left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, "No, everything's good. And yeah,
So, but it's like we're leaving, and it's like last time we
every
traveled,
time we
it seemed
leave,
like there's always something bad.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of this like
You
fog
don't-
that hangs over you a
Yeah.
little bit because you kind of think back to when you
When
heard the news and we were like traveling in an airport.
Of course.
So when you go on a trip, you're just like, oh,
yeah,
coming here,
waste-
yeah.
yeah,
PTSD from it.
yeah,
Yeah.
very much, very
So
much.
thankfully she had the appointment. At
But
like
you know, and I
8:30
think
we
that's
knew.
lucky for us. And being able to farm was like we didn't have jobs like we had to go to every day. Like
Yeah.
we were just triage mode on the farm. Just we got done what we had to get done.
Yeah.
I always said that was when I worked in the police, it was one of my things that I wanted to make a move out for having kids and getting away from that because I would see people going in like try to get days off for sport, and that's a very serious example, but like for sports days, and there'd be people missing sports day because they can't get a day off because they're short staffed, whereas like my parents could always come to sports day.
Yep.
I could phone them in the middle of the day and say, "Can you come pick me up from here?" Something they would they'd be there in 15
Yeah.
minutes, like, and it was such
Yep.
a luxury, you know. And you don't
for
appreciate
sure.
it when you're young, but you touched
For
on
sure.
it there. Like
Yep.
it is
Yeah.
such a luxury in farming.
I think even like on a smaller scale, like see even like the sort of getting like in the mornings having to get ready for work and school, and I
Yes.
feel like in so many households it's like such a
Chaos.
stressful
It's
time
chaos.
because everybody's
Yeah.
got to be places. Whereas with
Yeah.
farming, it's okay, you know,
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
no.
We'll go into the sheep once in a week.
I mean,
the
we-
school buses
we-
come.
Yeah.
We did have that though, because we were just a very structured. Like I did have to be out at a certain time to
Yeah,
get
like
because I
when-
worked at at the chicken barns,
Yeah, in our
and so
family
I
chicken
tried to get
operation.
because I had employees, so you'd sort of have to
Yeah.
get there at a certain time. You were a little more flexible.
Arable farmer, so
You're
I
a
was
little
pretty
more flexible,
right?
definitely in the winter, like during school for sure. But we would just have our own duties. Like
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
making breakfast.
I fed.
or no,
you
I'd be
made
making lunches.
I
You'd
fed
be
the
making
kids.
breakfast. We
Yeah.
just all had our roles to get everything
Yeah.
done in time. But yeah, you make it work. It's like everybody's got their own form of chaos and structure and
Yeah.
routine.
The
And
kids spent a lot of time in the buddy seats and the
Tractors.
tractors and the
Yep.
combines.
yeah,
Yeah, because you take them with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely do. a
because
lot
you
of
have
that.
help during the day, but at night it's like nope, no one's helping you with your kids. So, and the Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate and just let you be
No.
done at 4 o'clock when the kids are off the bus, or
Yeah.
so you just keep going.
And of course, the arable operations that underpins the whole farm. You know, that is an arable farm with some sheep on the side. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would
Yes.
say that it. Our probably if you were to look at our income split, it's about 85% of the gross would be from the grain side, and then 15 would be from the sheep.
Did you say gross?
Gross.
What's
yeah.
the net profit? Where's the net though?
Yeah.
Because sheep are pretty good just now.
We're highly capital invested with the sheep too.
Yeah, I
So-
would say livestock is pretty in Ontario is very capital intensive.
Because the big barns,
Big
the,
barns.
the feeders, the mixer
Yeah,
wagons.
the
The
climate
diesel,
just
the
because
labor.
Yeah, winter we can't. And people will argue with me that you can pasture, but you would have to supplement feed probably at least 4 to 5 months of the year.
where we are,
where
just we
we
get
are
so
'cause
much
of
snow.
snow.
Not this year, but you typically.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, global warming, it's
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
for some things.
Yeah.
But how many acres are you cropping?
So
there?
we're about 1,700 acres that we crop,
Yep.
and we take
Which isn't
about.
huge, eh? Is that small for Canada, or is that?
Well, I think if you to look at the
Ontario,
average
that's
for Ontario,
probably-
that's medium. I wouldn't say large because the average size in Ontario would be about 700 acres for arable.
Okay.
If you get into Western
Probably
Canada,
smaller than Scotland
Yeah.
for
so
arable farms.
when you get into Western Canada, it would probably be more like 5,000 acres would be
because it's just
would be,
different. It's
Less populated.
Yeah,
maybe
and
yeah,
less-
we have
cheaper ground.
their production is a lot lower than ours because of rainfall and climate.
But it's really interesting because we visited Crawford's farm
Yes. Mhm.
yesterday, and you guys, I don't know anything about arable, but you guys were chatting, and it was interesting to find that per acre for barley, was it you talking, or wheat? He's getting 5 times the wheat per acre that you guys get.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
5 times the crop. I thought that was incredible. So
Yep.
it seems to me that Auntie's farming twice the size. Oh, well, you're not, sorry, average is 700, you're 1,700 acre.
Yep.
But like, it seems to me that 1,700 acres, if, give that example, he's getting 5 times the crop, it's probably, does it make a big enough return? Like,
Yeah. So
would you say you're a wealthy farmer? You know, are you making good money, or is it tight at that?
So when we look at crops as a whole, so wheat, because our climate is a little bit more, it's hot when we go through the reproductive stage of wheat. So we fill wheat in 30 days, where when I was talking to Crawford, he's 60 days. So that really is what gives him a lot better yield than wheat. Now we can grow corn, and we grow a tremendous crop of corn.
Okay.
So, we might have a lower profitability on wheat, especially when you start comparing yields. But when we have our yields for corn,
Right.
like we can compete with some of the really productive U.S. states.
Okay.
And then with the exchange rate based off Chicago price on the Canadian dollar, we do quite well on corn.
A wealthy farmer. That was the answer I was looking for.
If you know your cost of production.
If you know your cost production,
That's what Mark will say.
I preach cost production a lot. I think
Because you got to know how much you're spending to get those yields.
Yes. So there's too much
You
of
can
farming
be
is just
putting a
kind
lot
of
into it.
decisions made with the gut. They just kind of like, oh, this is what we talked about it before we came in here. This is
It's what we always did.
What's what I always did.
Yeah.
This is what Dad did.
What Dad
or,
did.
Yeah.
This is what my uncle
There's
did.
a lot of bias in farming.
Where I try to challenge producers to say, understand your cost production, know what it costs you to do it, and then you can make more informed marketing decisions. And then, I think for us, that's really helped our profitability, and it's something that we really focused on about 10 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
Not just production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Arable's up and running. It's going great. Sandy's working at the chicken barns at this point. Eggs, layers, or
Broiler breeders. So they're hatching eggs. So we have roosters and hens that mate every day.
You sell them at a day old or 2 days old? as they're
No,
born?
so we actually sell the eggs. So
you're actually selling the eggs? Right, okay.
The
Fertile egg.
fertile egg gets
And-
picked
and
up
someone
by
else's-
the processor or the
hatchery.
hatchery.
Yeah, so by
It goes to a
three-step process,
hatchery.
you produce the fertilized egg, they hatch it, and then sell it to the...
That's right, broiler to a broiler.
And you get
farmer.
paid per saleable chick. So you don't get paid for the fertile egg. You get
We get paid for
the live egg,
one
every
that
live chick.
hatches.
That's-
That hatches.
Yeah.
So there's always hatchery
That's
error.
probably fair
There's
as well.
hatchery error as well.
Ah,
So
yeah, of
that's when
course.
there's some drama and
Yeah.
stress because you're like
They were good eggs, it's your fault.
right. There's a lot
They
of
sat
finger. There
too-
can be a
they
lot
sat
of
too
finger
long
pointing
before they were
in
set.
that
Yeah.
industry. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's always a little bit of drama, but
processors.
yeah, you're sort of at their. But it was a really cool business. Actually, I like the animal part of it because it was very.
But it was so cool you wanted out of it to do sheep.
well,
how did you
there
come-
was
how did you
not.
come
It
out-
wasn't really. It wasn't really the.
Was there drama involved?
It was more of a family succession.
Drama.
Yeah.
We love succession talking
Yeah,
here.
it was more.
and the drama of
It
it.
was more. We were just ready to. Mark and I are fiercely independent.
Yeah.
We both are. And we work together with Mark's family,
Yeah,
your
my
dad and your
my
brother.
younger brother, yeah.
So I helped him on the chicken side for 11 years while Mark took the brunt of the entire grain operation while we went to did all the chicken work every day.
Yep.
But there got to a point where the chickens were sort of running smooth and we had some new barns getting built at home I was sort of managing. And it was just time for, okay, when are we going to
Where are we
see
heading?
ownership or
Yeah.
where is this going to sort of fall out or fall into place? And the point, your dad is still he was just very young still. He wasn't ready to,
Yeah.
we finally, and I get it now. You really do have to get out of it to
Yeah.
understand where people's brains are at when it comes to succession. And I find with that business, your dad had so much identity wrapped up in getting it going and working. And we went through such hard times when you took over that business that I think once it became good and running, it's like, well, I want to be part of the good.
Yeah.
It was so hard for so long.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I get it. I get it now, but at the time you're like, this is never going to happen. We're never going to have, he gave us so much independence though. We were able to do what we wanted to do.
Well, I think that
but-
was some of the issue too. Is that I see it a lot in families where there's a loss of communication.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of what? There isn't really. It's kind of organized chaos to a certain degree. The jobs get done. The farm's profitable, but there still isn't a clear definition who's in charge of what to a certain degree. And then as it gets better, you get less communication because you're not challenged by things that are going on as much.
That you have to work together.
To solve. So then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I found our family just started to split apart in the business naturally. And then all of a sudden,
as we were doing better, it didn't make sense,
Yeah.
but that's what was happening.
so then I got to a point where Dad wanted to do something. My brother had a different idea. Sandy and I
well, and we
were
had
the
a kid.
odd ducks out in a
we were
way
having
too,
kids,
because it was two of us that were in it, and Dad and Jamie had their own families. So
yeah.
it was hard. And my parents went through a divorce
In the
through
meantime,
this as well. So then we had Dad had to settle Mom out of the farming operation. So that added complexity to it too. So
There was a lot.
It's
It was
just-
a busy 11 years.
So we were trying to navigate, a parental divorce and still retain assets to farm that, Mom was looked after and treated fairly. Dad still wanted to grow the business. And I think once that got settled, in a way, Dad was probably rejuvenated and ready to go on to the next step.
Yeah.
And then it was like, this is what I want to do. But it was never kind of like, what do you guys want to do? It's like, this is what I want to do. So come on. And that's a
This
big
is the
mistake
plan.
is that I see is that parents will, Tommy wants to come home to farm, and the parents say, well, okay, we're going to build you a chicken barn. This is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Or I see it in dairy in Ontario a lot too,
yeah.
where the kid has no choice but to come home to a dairy farm because that's what the parents want them to do. They never ask the kid, hey, what part of agriculture are you interested in? What do you want to do? Like maybe it's, I want to further process milk and do cheese, which could be a very viable business. But no, let's get another 100 cows and milk another 100 cows because you're home. So you get that kind of animosity. And I think for Sandy and I, we just said, we're done. So whether we have something, like that day was a day we might have not farmed anymore because we pulled the pin out of the grenade and said, we're done. What are we going to do?
Do with us with what you will. And we sat
'Cause
on
we
the
had-
front porch
we had-
all day
yeah.
just going, what did we just do?
Because we basically just gave them the ultimatum. Luckily, we had a farm that we owned outside of everything. So I'm like, we still have a place to live.
And we have an education.
We have an education. We can go get a job.
And we had a lot of industry
Connections.
connections.
Yeah, we've always prided ourselves on industry connections and being part of the ag community.
So we were disappointed because we were like, if we don't get to farm, I mean, that was always the dream. But there's options. We're not gonna.
But
go.
I do have to say, my dad and brother, after all of us kind of took a step back, it turned into a good process, and we have a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Because I always said I wanted to have Christmas
together
as a family, right? So, but it was a tough couple days.
I think a lot of people will be able to relate. We speak a lot about succession on here because it is such a hot topic in farming, and there's always the chat about the average age of farmers getting older and older, and it's trying to encourage more to, like you say, let the young ones come in and do what they want to do, rather than telling them this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, and we're contemplating doing something even completely different with our kids because they both have sort of a desire to work off farm for a while. Jack's already in robotics right now. He's doing robotic automation. So he's not on the farm, but we don't want to ever close the door on the fact that he might want to come
Good
back.
skills.
What's
Good
that?
skills for the farm.
Yeah.
Robotic automation.
Yeah. Like, and he knows controllers, and he knows like he's an electrical engineer. Like, we can use that.
Yeah.
So we're looking at doing stuff a little bit different for them. And if they want to come back just even as ownership, and we could have a farm manager, like, then they're still involved. We still have the asset of land. And so it's,
I think there's always, and you probably see it too, there's just a lot of pressure on the current generation farming not to be the last generation.
We talk about that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's where it comes into the asset rich, cash,
Cash
poor.
poor, yeah.
But although they're asset rich, and they might
They
be
don't wanna sell
struggling,
it.
they can't sell it.
Yeah.
Because they farmed it for 5 years. They cannot be they can't be the Wilson
yeah.
that let that farm go.
Yeah.
So even though they might be sitting on £1 million,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
because they can't access it because they cannot mentally be the one that gives up
No.
and fails.
No.
So it crushes
Yeah, and
them.
that's where the mental health
Absolutely.
aspect
Yeah.
comes
Crushes
in.
them.
That's
And
where
we
you get a lot of
yeah.
internal pressures that people don't see.
So we're just trying to look internally to see like I call it continuity. What does continuity look like? And I think traditionally we've always thought it's, a generation come home and actively farms. But I'm looking at it saying, and that's kind of like a Canadian model. I'm looking at it saying maybe it's just you're an owner that has a meeting with a farm manager every couple weeks, and you hire a farm manager. Like, how do you look at continuity different than physically having to be the person that is doing the work?
Because there's massive benefits. I mean, freedom of that scenario you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Even if you have less money in your pocket than if you did it yourself, if you have all this free time to work off farm, they could, Jack or Jess could continue doing their jobs.
Yes.
And just a monthly check-in or a
That's
weekly
right.
check-in.
Yep.
Phone me whenever you need, there's a question.
Yep.
But they still own the farm.
That's right.
And it's there
the
for
farm doesn't go, the equity is still there. The assets are still there. They're making their own
It's still
money.
the Brocs,
Yeah.
It's into
So
that.
I just think we have to, if we've learned anything over these life experiences, it's like we need to keep an open mind and that let's look at other industries and see how they're doing it. Like, we don't have to look at other farm models to see how succession is done properly, because it might be completely different than anything we've seen. So yeah, we've definitely learned a lot in the last 10 years for sure as to, well, definitely not what not to do.
Well, yeah,
but
I think
yeah.
you make a good point. Like, I think we need to actually challenge ourselves a little bit to look at industries similar to agriculture, but not agriculture, and see how they're doing some of this, because there's a lot of similarities. Like, you look at a landscape company, they're challenged by weather for when they can do work and stuff like that.
challenged by labor.
How do you look at them selling a business? As we look at, it's interesting. You look at all the baby boomers that own businesses right now. How are they going to sell their businesses? Because I think they kind of want to see continuity in what they built as well, right? Because their identity is tied to it. So I think we need to start looking at some models outside of agriculture and see what's applicable that we can bring back. So we're talking about setting up an advisory board for our farm. So we bring in people that understand our farm operation. They help us with a new strategic plan.
And the kids are with us.
And the kids are part of that, so that if something unfortunate happens to Sandy and I, there's continuity there.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's
there's some framework
Yeah.
already built. They've been a part of it.
yeah.
And if you're running a smooth enough and efficient enough operation, it should be able to carry a staff member to run it.
Yeah.
That- And the kids can still get an income from it.
That's right.
And the asset only grows over time.
That's right.
All land and property prices, it grows over time. It's there for their next generation, and it stays in it's not just a big sale. If, say, you go at this sell
Right.
the place because you've not brought them into that, what do we do? Oh, we don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Let's sell it.
exactly.
Let's just sell it because I don't want the stress.
But you're bringing them in early.
Yeah.
They're part of it. It's good. It's clever.
It was your kind of epiphany just the last couple months. He was like, I think I want an advisory committee for
Well, I'm getting
our
older.
farm. Well, yeah, we
want
get
a little bit more
old-
freedom.
I think
We
this
worked-
thing with Jess
we
has
work hard,
really
yeah.
really just went like, we're not here forever.
Yeah, we're all mortal.
Yeah.
We're not here forever. Let's get this figured out before they're sitting on the front porch in their early 30s
wanting to kick
with
me.
kids.
Yeah.
Or early 40s, I guess. But so
Yeah, well, I think that's a great way to go. What we're going to do is we're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, and then we're going to get into the real juicy stuff, the YouTube stuff.
oh boy.
Back in a second.
Get ready for a successful turnout and choose Crystalyx this grazing season. Spring grass is typically fast-growing and lush. However, it can contain high levels of potassium, which reduces magnesium availability. Crystalyx Cattle Hi-Mag incorporates multiple magnesium sources and is proven through trials at Glasgow University to help maintain normal blood magnesium levels. With 35% sugar and a unique blend of vitamins, minerals and trace elements, Crystalyx Cattle Hi-Mag supports optimal performance at turnout.
So, Sheepishly Me.
Yeah.
Iona's been getting tuned up a bit on some of the Sheepishly Me. I've
Nice.
been telling her to brush up on her Sandy Brock.
Nice. I've been watching a little more shoot game lately too.
Have you?
Yeah.
In case you get
I
caught
gotta
out.
get
Reciprocal.
It's tricky when it's like, you know enough, but it's like, what are those boys
like-
called again? And,
Well, and sometimes
What's
you
his name?
Sometimes you don't have time to consume it because
Yeah,
you're always working on the next
You're
vlog.
always editing
For me,
and doing
I'm
other
always
stuff. Yeah.
I'm always I get the one uploaded, and then I'm already working on the next
Oh,
one.
like most of the
So-
stuff I see from you is Instagram.
right?
You know, I keep up to date with most of your stuff through Instagram.
So does my
And
husband.
I follow
He's like,
you.
what kind
What
of mood
mood
she in
she's going to be
today?
in this morning?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
going through your stories
What
going,
problems
oh,
has there been?
Yeah.
And Jess is the same. She's on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep up to date
Yeah.
with like how she's getting on through that.
Sure.
And what the latest hot book is.
Yeah.
That's
for the
right.
week.
That's right. That's right.
So, but YouTube, you intimated how that kind of started. The kids pushing you into that,
Yeah.
but it's a slog.
It's a grind.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
especially
don't
getting
think-
started.
Yeah, I don't think people realize
'Cause you
how
started-
many hours. Yeah.
Same as me.
Yeah.
Like YouTube first.
Yeah.
Well, you said a bit of Facebook, but YouTube first.
Yeah.
Before like TikTok could make anyone a YouTuber.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
before YouTube Shorts.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
kind of
And
ruined
When
the game
was
a bit.
that, Sandy? When did you first start? YouTube?
2017.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, so you're only
she's been a
you're
hot-
2 years
hot
before
minute.
me.
Yep.
But you're
I figured you were very soon. I thought you were maybe just a year after me, but you were.
yeah, just
yeah.
2 years. So it's not
Yeah.
that. But you grew fast.
No, it took me about a year to get 1,000. I think.
I was 14 months. There you go.
Yeah, it's about a year. About a year.
Lizzie was 3 days. No, Lizzie was a day. She's like 3 days to 5,000.
Oh my god.
But then that's obviously
Yeah. So Mark was pretty quick too.
Yeah.
Jess was pretty quick. Mark was pretty quick. Funny story with the beginnings is so back when I started 500, and it's back to 500 again, but 500, you only need to meet 500
subscribers
and then so many watch hours to get on the YouTube partner program. And I hit 500, and then the next day Logan Paul put out that video that
the woods?
screwed ad revenue, and then subs went up to 1,000. The day I hit 500, subs went to 1,000. I'm like, you got it. I remember the day
Yeah,
because
I
I said,
remember.
Mark, you got to
such
be.
a-
This
it's such a
is
slog.
a sign
Yeah.
that I should
I
not
should
be.
just quit.
I should not be doing this,
Yeah.
or that should not be the goal. And I was devastated because I'm like, oh my God, I could have actually made a couple dollars doing
Yeah.
this. And then about, almost 4 or 6 months later, I was getting darn close to 1,000. I think I was at 994. And Jack still hadn't subscribed. He's like, I ain't subscribing to you until you hit 1,000. So I was like, Jack, I'm at 994. When do you think I'm going to hit 1,000? And he's like, I don't know. And then he disappeared. And then later that day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost at 1,000. And then just came over to me, or you came
Yeah,
over
we're
to me.
all using our different email addresses to
He signed up.
Yeah.
He signed up for like 5 different Google
accounts,
emails,
yeah.
and
To get you up to
he was my last like 6 subscribers
Yeah.
to hit 1,000. So that might be cheating, but so anyway, so I hit 1,000, and then I was able to monetize, but then I was too scared. So it was a year before
Yeah.
I
So you just left
actually.
it sitting for a year.
I didn't.
And what was
Sheepishly.
Like because I'm like everyone's gonna start yelling at me. There's commercials in my videos, and they're gonna not be my subscribers. And
So is that what changed you, Sandy? They start putting the adverts
ads,
in?
yeah.
Okay.
So they call them, it's called the YouTube Partner Program. So then ad companies can start bidding on your videos,
Okay.
and so that's how Cammy and I get paid on YouTube. And I was like, no, I can't do that. So I put one maybe in front of the video.
Yeah, you wouldn't
finally.
click all the boxes. You just
No, it was
you
like-
wouldn't- I'll do one at the start.
I'll do one at the
what
start.
do you think? Should I not? I'm like,
And then I might have put one more in it, and I'm like, oh, I can't put. And then finally, I was talking to some other farm YouTubers, and they were like, oh, dude, no, just click. Let YouTube
everything.
do it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
don't even think about it, because it's like mainstream. Everybody has ads. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Because it's too much work.
It's so much.
It's so much work.
And YouTube actually tailors the ads to the people. And
Yes,
like
and they
people-
don't understand that. They think that I like.
Oh, you pick the
They're
ads.
like, oh, I got a bra ad, and I'm like, yeah, but it's to you. It's not like I don't
you're
derive
not
the
set
ads.
up.
It's
Yeah,
the viewer.
yeah.
It's not the
it
creator.
will be interesting with the U.S. election this year
Yeah.
Oh,
because
yeah.
sometimes in the comments you would. Get,
Oh yeah.
like,
Oh, you're pro
Yeah.
Trump
So sometimes
because-
they think.
They think.
Sometimes they think.
'Cause of the
But
ad.
it's whoever's watching it. So
Yeah,
they'll be
it's
like,
totally-
why did I get?
It's all about your
Oh,
views
interesting.
and
Yeah.
what you've been watching.
yeah.
But a lot of viewers don't.
They don't know
They
that.
don't understand how the internet works,
So
Yeah.
and definitely not
hilarious.
YouTube or Google. So
Another problem with our type of channel, farm channels, is that ad revenue is lower. Well, another thing people might not realise is if you do a finance channel or a
Business.
crypto's the big bloody
Business.
thing. Business advice,
very high.
How to make £1 million, invest in property, these kind of things. People, it's a competitive market for advertising space with all these dodgy programs and stuff they're trying to sell you to sign up to. So the ad revenue is huge on those videos.
Yes.
Whereas like farming videos, they're not as appealing, and there's a lot less companies with a lot smaller budgets. Advertising,
It's more niche.
it's more niche.
Yep.
Yeah.
And niche can work okay too. But yeah, definitely. I do my CPM's quite good.
Yeah,
like just
like your
comparing.
Is it because you have a large
demographics, yeah.
female demographic?
I have a large female. I didn't at the start. It's my demographics have been such a case study. It's so cool. When I first started, it was the age was actually my age has been pretty much a straight line, like all
Even
ages.
split? Yeah, I'm in
Sort of all ages. Definitely between 18 and 44. Like that's the big bump, and that's always been that way. But definitely, sort of like all ages. But my gender I probably started as probably 90% male because farming.
Yeah.
And then now I'm probably 65, 35. I'm probably 65 women, 35 men watching a farming channel, which is like, to me, I'm like, if anything else, I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You know,
I would say too now your target audience isn't farmers.
no. And you can tell by my content.
Yeah.
Like it's
like-
definitely, I'm all over the map.
Yeah, and
Like I'm in the house, I'm in my car, I'm like
But that's
not,
good.
because to me, I'm getting bored of my stuff. So I'm like, I'm not just a sheep farmer. Like I am, but there's so much more to us. And I'm like, I'm not going to just keep doing vlogs on how I lamb out my sheep or.
Yeah, here's another one with mastitis. Here's one with twin lamb
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It's-
Like it's just like they've seen it. They know what I'm going to do. They probably predict what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
In fact, on my Instagram, a lot of the time they're like, did you write this down? Did you do this? And I'm like, okay, mom. Yeah.
But that's the problem with my channel now is because, albeit you guys have a farm, so you'll see maybe a bit more progression on your side of things. But like because I just rent ground and I just put the tups out, I lamb the sheep, we sell them at market.
Yep.
Although I can see progression in terms of the quality of stock,
For sure.
the number of sheep,
Yeah.
the implements we can buy and improve on.
Yep.
Like it's not really visible. It's not like, and I use Tom Pemberton all the time as an example because I really like his channel.
Yeah.
Like you see his new dairy parlour.
Yes.
You see his new cubicle shed.
Yeah.
You know, new tractor.
Yeah.
New, like he's pushing forward at such a rate of knots,
Yeah.
but it's great to watch because folk love new stuff.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
love seeing how somebody builds a shed so they can
Yeah.
tell them how they've done it wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Why are
Yeah.
you buying that tractor? It's
Yeah.
not green.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's whereas mine
Yeah.
is just like sheep. But the purest sheep people, and our channel's changing. Like
Yeah.
our channel is now moving more towards covering the family element of growing up.
Yes.
You know, the boys have changed it.
Yeah.
And you very much bring in that family element as well.
Yeah.
And you're quite good at talking about emotions.
Well, because
some-
I'm very emotional.
Maybe
It's
that helps.
It's just part of the parcel. It's just part of the parcel, right?
Yes.
But I think people want
I think
that.
that's good though. Yeah.
Well, it's real. I think, and maybe that's why the women more female on the gender has come in a bit more because I might be a little more relatable to women. Men probably skip real quick by any emotion shown by me, but
I don't know about that in a way because I do think there's a lot of women involved in agriculture more than I think we give credit for, and they are the kind of the support. I would say the emotional support side because men don't tend to show emotions, but I do think men watch that.
okay.
I do because they might hide their emotions, but they're there.
Yeah, they probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
Just don't say it.
They just
And I
don't,
think
or maybe
that's-
just don't show it.
That's
same
the
way.
one thing that with you that I think that's worked very well is that your goal has always been to humanize farming, right? It's not just people look at it as a job. It's like this is the human side of what we do every day. Try to create empathy
Yes.
and
Yeah, that is what you're great at.
Yeah.
Yeah. The love for the animals and really showing it. You know, it's like I love my sheep, but I don't love my sheep like you love your sheep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I do, I
Yeah.
certainly don't talk about it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
I think
great
it's
for
to
farming.
create empathy. It was to create empathy, not sympathy so much, but empathy for sure. And what I've found is I have developed empathy for the viewer now, like because I can see how important context is too. Like it's like, oh, because sometimes I'll be editing, I'm like, oh, no one cares about that. And sure enough, if I didn't put it in, they'll be like, why did you do that? Like, why went? And it's like, oh, I had that and I explained it, but I was talking too much and I took it out and I should have left it in.
Yeah,
So-
I get a lot of that. You have to explain the full
So
thing in the
there's
comments.
I have a lot of empathy now for the value of context and how the miscommunication can go very, very wrong very quickly. And so I've learned that for sure in this whole process.
And so it took the first year to get up to your 1,000, and obviously you're far from that now.
Yeah.
How did the growth go?
I would say my first up to 100,000. I would just say a few viral videos.
Okay.
Like if you look at your analytics, you've got a few that just really push subs.
You had
I would
a massive one mucking out a barn. Was that your first big one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then you cling on to that. You're like, oh, this one works. So you keep trying to repeat it because they're like, keep doing the same thing. And I'm like,
Doesn't work.
it doesn't work. That doesn't work. Not with farming because it's like, oh, yeah, you've already done this. So learning that that you can't just keep repeating.
Yeah.
Even though all the YouTube gurus say, if something works, make sure you do something relative. And it's like, I can't do that because every day is different. Like I can't plan my content.
Yeah.
No.
Like I just can't plan it, which is also the magic of what we do.
Yeah.
You don't plan your day. You
No.
just know you're going to be scanning. You don't know that a ewe is going to jump out of your scanner or Jock's going to press every button. And you
Yeah.
probably do know that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a given. That's a given. But
Yeah.
and I never worry about how many views a video is going to get.
Yeah.
Like, just make a video. If it's good,
Yeah.
man, I enjoy it. Get it out there.
And I don't. I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
didn't get views. I'm going to change the thumbnail.
Yeah.
I used to
I
change.
don't mind.
I
I don't mind the
would.
thumbnail, but in fact, I'll really change a thumbnail. I just let it go. It's just
I don't now, but like
You-
when
But
I
then you've
was
got-
You used to be
I am,
neurotic about it.
like neurotic.
You would hop right
I'd be
on
like,
after you-
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. It's like bottom of the bear. I'm changing my thumbnail.
Yeah.
And I'll watch it for 24
And then you'd
hours.
be
I'm
like,
like, still 10, 10. Change
Change my
again.
thumbnail.
Yeah, is that right?
Oh, I was neurotic.
Yeah, thumbnails. It's not a thing I ever really
I know.
worry about. But what was it was it this new YouTube Shorts thing that kind of pushed you onto the million?
So, oh yeah, 100%. So
it?
yeah, my channel, it's sort of also discouraging, right? Because it's like, my channel should probably be at like 150,000.
Yeah.
But I also have a shorts audience. So it's like, well, what? I don't know. Like I also have a shorts audience and I just put it under one banner. But yeah, shorts seems to be like, if I look at my analytics, I can have a video, a long form video, a 30-minute video with like 60% retention, which is really good for that
Very good,
long.
very good.
And I might have 25 new subs.
Yeah.
A short that might only have 100,000 could have 200 subs.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, why do you sub to? But they're subbing to the shorts. They're
It's
not.
just, for
they're
anyone
not
that's wondering-
subbing. They're not going over to the long form.
No, and Shorts is basically TikTok on YouTube.
Yeah, it's
That's-
short form
Yeah, it's
content.
like Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels,
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts,
Yeah.
TikTok. It's all the same kind of idea. And like most of my subscribers, like I think I'm about 100,000.
Yeah.
Going by my views, you're
Yes.
usually about 30%, is it they
Yeah.
say? Or, so I'll be maybe 110, 120,000 is where I am genuinely at with subscribers.
Yeah.
But I'm at 330,000
Because of some shorts that
one
blow
video.
up.
One
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
I stopped posting shots after
Yeah.
that because I don't like it because it was so precious and hard earned. Like I got up to
I know.
I got up to like 80 odd thousand through absolute hard
I
graft
know.
long form, and then I just posted this one shearing shot that got 250 million views, and I get 200,000 odd subscribers out it.
I know.
But
They're not coming. They're not migrating over.
So
they're
just-
not your
Don't
core.
worry, it looks great, but
Yeah.
it just spoiled it for me because I was working so hard to get that silver plaque on the
Yeah,
wall there.
I know.
I mean, this is the first time I've never even mentioned that on social media.
Yeah.
We just got it because I thought it looked nice in
Yeah.
the back here.
Yeah.
It was in a box. It was still in a box, and I've had it for.
I know.
well
I
over a
sat
year.
on.
You sat
'Cause
on
it
your
ruined
gold
it.
one for a while.
Yeah.
This one was so special
Yeah.
to
Just-
me
yeah, you worked
because
hard for it.
there was
Yeah.
no shorts
Shorts,
in that
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
The million sat in that box for
Yeah.
6 months.
Same. I never did a
Yeah.
post about it.
And it was like,
on
it's a
YouTube or anything.
million. And I'm like, it didn't mean near to me
Yeah.
what that
That's
one
so
did.
interesting. I
Yeah.
never thought like
Love
that.
Because the shorts, I'm
Yeah.
like, it feels a little bit cheating.
Yeah.
However, shorts take me a long time to make.
Well, you make yours.
Like I actually edit my shorts.
My
and,
shorts are
like
so
I don't
easy.
just put on. I don't
just
just
share the
do
sheep.
it.
Like I put one
Yeah.
on Facebook the other day. It's like
Yeah.
20 million views. I just show the sheep. I didn't even post it in the summer because I
Yeah.
didn't think it was that good. I didn't like it. I left a wee bit of fluff on.
But
just
yeah.
me. But post it. 20
Yeah,
million
just
views.
short term, short. So, but what I found at Christmas time, like Christmas, December, I don't know for you, but ad revenue is fairly high
Oh, yeah,
because
it
that's
jumps.
when there's a lot of people buying stuff, and ad revenue is really high. And typically December's very good financially for me. So, and I'm usually lambing, so I'll have a lot more long form videos. So I'll try. Like I'm videoing daily. I don't get them uploaded daily because I'm too fussy, and too busy. But what I found is because I stopped doing shorts, my views crashed. Even though hours watched was crazy because they're watching 30-minute videos every other day.
Yeah.
I wasn't posting shorts.
Okay.
So my views went down. My CPM crashed
Is that
Yeah.
right?
a third.
So I need
it was
to-
a third
I need
in
to-
December.
I need to do more shorts.
Well, no, because your algorithm isn't used to it. So mine is
Okay.
used to like so many
see-
people watching my shorts. I stopped posting them, so my views went boof. And then it took about 3 or 4
2 or 3
videos
weeks,
to
yeah.
get back to normal again.
So because I'm so precious about the sheep game, and it sounds ridiculous to say I was disheartened. Like I felt it spoiled the sheep game a bit
Mm-hmm.
because it looks, folk are going, oh wow, you have 300,000 subscribers, it's amazing.
It's like,
I'm like, not really.
I know.
And it ruined it for me because it was
know.
such hard work.
I know.
We started another channel called Shearing Season.
Right. And that's where you're putting your
And
shorter.
Well, that's going to be my viral video kind of.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do like over the top shearing videos of come and see this Suffolk ram we're going to shear. It's really exciting.
it's more the hoof GP.
More hoof GP.
Yeah.
Try to do, and repeatable.
Yes.
Like-
you can share it easy.
Well, you can jump into any video. And
Yeah.
You don't need, like, with the sheep game, you follow a story.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Sheepishly me, generally, you're
Yes.
following a story.
Yes.
Hoof GP, you just watch any video and
Yeah.
you see a cow lame
Yeah.
and then fixed.
Yeah, it has nothing.
see a
He's
sheep-
not
Yeah.
bringing anything from
No, it'll usually
Something
add
from
a wee
before.
bit
Yeah.
now and again, but he's
Yeah.
got a great formula. He'll add a wee bit maybe at the start. Like
Yeah.
every third video, it's a wee bit in the house with
Yeah.
the family, but then it keeps it very much get to business.
Yes.
And that's it with the shearing thing.
Yeah.
We're here, bit of drone shots, a lovely Scottish countryside. Here's a sheep to shear.
Yeah.
Let's shear it. You see, there's a job to be done. He does it. You see the end result every video, and that's what shearing season will be. And we hope to build it up to something, chasing down, try to get a pound or two like Graham gets, copying that, and then we'll throw shots on that.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I started that channel in that viral shearing shot.
Yeah.
I just stuck it on that one.
Yeah.
And got to 35,000 subscribers off
on
that
the
one shot.
with that short, the same short.
Same shot as already
Yeah.
done 200 million other
Crazy.
one.
Yeah, these shorts are short form content.
That one video.
Yeah.
And there's no editing on it. It's just
Yeah.
me shearing a blacky sheep.
But what I do
that I do every
find, so our niece and nephew's quite a bit younger than Jack and Jess.
Yeah.
And so when Jack and Jess would watch long form YouTube content, I'm watching my niece and nephew who are 10 years younger than them, basically, 8 to 10 years younger. They
Yeah.
only watch shorts.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they're
that is
allowed to
now,
watch
yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
But they don't really have phones to be on Instagram and to be this, and they will watch YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, interesting. Here we are again. The next generation
Yeah.
is different
And the
again.
attention span is just going.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah.
People's
Oh,
attention
100%.
span is-
Mine is.
Yeah.
'Cause
yeah.
that's, like,
we
it's
don't
just
have
always-
to sit and watch something for a long
Yes.
period of time, whereas with TikTok it's
Yes.
fast.
Yeah.
And yet here we are doing a podcast that's going to
Well-
be well over an hour long, but people...
And I love
And that's why the YouTube
long-form
long form
content.
But it's the people that watch YouTube long form content are the best quality audience.
That's right. And they're watching it on TV, I find a lot. Like
They'll engage with you. They'll
what
follow
I'm
your
finding
story.
is there's more people watching YouTube on TV.
Yeah. That's how I
and the
consume
longer
it
the
all.
better because you're sitting down, you've already sat down to commit. Whereas, if you just want to watch mine in your lunch hour on your phone, it's probably too long, or you're probably going to come back to it a few times. In
Yeah,
the
it's a long
next-
time to hold a phone and
Yes.
watch a small thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and TikTok has ruined it a bit. And, I mean, TikTok's another one that's such a doddle. Like, I have 160,000 on TikTok, and I never bother with it.
I'll
occasionally throw a video
I
up.
had one video that went crazy viral, and I haven't been on TikTok in a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, and all my content is stolen on
Stolen.
Facebook and TikTok because I'm never there.
But
And I
Hoof
don't
GP 's
even,
the same.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
If you're going to just steal my stuff, it's literally me in the video. And people are like, is this you? I'm like, well, it's me in the video, but it's not,
It's
my,
not
channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Like,
yeah.
I hate that about these apps.
Yeah,
like
because
it's
you can
so,
get away with it. I mean, Graham
and I
was
just give up.
Graham
I'm
was
like, I
telling me
don't
the other
care.
day,
Whatever.
he counted like 60 channels
Yeah.
using his content
Yeah.
with just a different name.
Like,
Yeah.
how is that?
You can't combat it. It's just,
No.
yeah. And they have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yep.
Millions of views
Yep.
on each video.
Yep.
They just tweak the speed of it or change the colour of it
Yep.
slightly.
And then
or
they'll
mirror
just
it,
say it's theirs.
and then there's no copyright.
Yeah.
And then, it's
Oh,
clever.
it's savage. But I'm like, Mark's like, you're doing all the work, and they're actually getting monetized. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
You spend your whole life.
honestly,
Like Graham
it's
says too.
still-
It's like you
it's
could spend his
still-
whole life
Yeah.
chasing
It's
them
still
down.
me in the video. So if they really did some research, they'd be like, that's actually,
Yeah, it
let's
may
try and
actually be a
find
good
her.
thing for
let's
you.
find her YouTube.
Yeah.
So in YouTube, as we've kind of touched on there, it brings an extra stream of income
Yes.
to the farm.
Yes.
Lets you reinvest. The great thing about being farmers is it'll
Yes.
we reinvest it
Once
back in.
I decided to not be a scaredy cat and actually monetize it and let YouTube do the ad placements,
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I should have done this a long time ago. And then that's when Mark was like, you just take your time editing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
before
yeah.
it was like,
Why are you messing about
Well,
with
it's
that
hard.
camera?
stomping your
Yeah,
foot, like we
yeah.
got shit to do, put down the camera. Can
Yeah.
you help me? Can you put that stupid thing down? Like when you're working and trying to film and sort of stay positive and all hell's breaking loose.
Yeah.
And
Especially
you're
if I'm
trying to
fixing
stay
hay
married.
equipment.
Like he's just like, and then so once you start, it starts to generate a little bit of income. Then
Yeah.
he's like, he's a little more patient. You can justify it.
Yeah.
Like with farming, everything needs a return, or it's just like we do not have time for that.
Well, it's like when I started, I'm just like, why are you messing about with that? Why are you doing that? Now they ask, how do you do that?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like, why are you doing that? Running about that nonsense
Yep.
with the camera and all that.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of frowned upon.
Yep.
Now, when I started doing sheep, I had a look. I was Snapchatting, and that's how the boys were like, go and do YouTube.
Yeah. I was too,
And-
actually, with Snapchat.
You started with
There you
I
Snapchat.
go.
started with Snapchat.
There we go.
Yep.
And I looked up, I've told this story before, they initially put me on to Tom Pemberton and said, look at what Tom Pemberton's doing. Because he was huge in the UK. Well, he still is. He's the biggest, if we call Graham a viral sensation,
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom's probably the biggest
Vlog.
farming vlog type
Yes.
guy. So I went and looked at Tom, but then I thought, right, who's doing sheep? And that's when I crumped across, because you were the only person doing sheep.
Yep.
English speaking, if we
Yes.
say
Yeah.
that, Western person doing sheep at that time.
Yeah.
And I was looking, I was like, there's nobody
No.
doing
Yes,
sheep
doing it.
like on our system here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's mad. On YouTube with millions of channels doing millions of topics, I was like, there's nobody doing like Western style sheep outside like we do in the UK. And there was only Sandi doing it with
And mine are inside,
an indoor
like
system, so totally different.
Yeah, yeah.
Still sheep,
Yeah.
but totally different to what we do. So I thought, wow, there's a real opportunity here. And now, brilliant, there's loads of people doing it, which is great. I mean, but that was part of my luck, was that, in a
There was an
market like-
opportunity.
Yeah.
an opportunity.
And you are the good thing about me and you, and when we got in it at the same time, we were doing some things. Some things are you have to do this with sheep no
Yeah,
matter what.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's shearing. We
Lambing
both have the
and-
same lambing problems.
Yep.
Whether you're inside or outside, you can lay on our lamb.
Exactly.
Right? Like
Yeah.
shit just happens.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And so it was really, even though sometimes you're like, why aren't yours outside like Cammy?
Oh,
and then
I
I'm
bet
sure
you get
Cammy's
sick
like,
of hearing
why
that.
aren't they inside and protected from the rain like Sandy's? Like literally, like they can be pro you one day and pro me the next day. And it's
Yeah.
funny because like it doesn't matter because like the sheep will just, whatever they're used to, all they care about is they get fed and looked after.
Yeah, well, and I say, whenever people comment, I don't get it much these days right enough, but I did for a while. I was getting comments like, oh, it's so much better to see them outside, unlike Sandy's
Yes.
that are inside all the time. And I say, it's okay saying that because I'm videoing on a nice day here.
Yeah.
You come to Scotland in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And you tell me if you'd rather be a sheep in Sandy's barn,
Yeah.
getting fed a mixed ration every day, nice and dry,
Yeah.
100% TLC,
Yeah.
or you want to be a
Yeah.
yow in Scotland lying out in a pissing wet field with the wind's blowing, or
Yeah.
it snows 4 inches,
That's
5
right.
inches deep, where would you rather be? You
Yeah.
know, that's what I always said to them.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd rather be in the bloody barn. I
Yeah.
tell you.
Oh yeah. Like it's.
And the sheep are different sheep, and it's
the
different sheep,
Yeah,
and
they're
different
just,
systems.
They
yeah.
just, yeah. You
But
can.
thankfully, like, you were a big help in pushing me, I think, to 10,000.
Yeah.
So I think you got me like 2,000 subscribers. I was miles away from 10,000, and you did a big shout out.
And I
like,
think it was just a freak. Like I'm like, have you seen Cammy's channel? It's like one of my favorite channels.
Yeah,
And
and
then
you put a little
everyone's like,
cap.
and you were like,
Yeah.
oh my god, thank you for doing. I'm like, oh dude,
'cause
there
I
was
went-
no one that did that for me, so I'm
Yeah.
happy to.
Yeah, that was
do
my
it.
first
Yeah.
experience of like my YouTube going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have any viral
Yeah.
videos, but
Yeah.
I just all of a sudden it was like subscriber. Every time I looked, it was up
And you
like
don't
50 or
mind
60.
You don't mind that. There's something
No, because
about
it's-
collaboration that like that doesn't
No, those people
The
are
shorts
people
are different,
that you
but-
have so invested in you, they trust you.
And we're a bit of a Venn diagram, right? Our super fans are probably watching both of ours.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah, you'll have cross.
We have a cross
Oh,
audience.
there's definitely that. Yeah.
Right.
And then I have a
Cross-pollinated
cross
audience.
again to Hoof GP.
Right.
And across,
Right.
well, you must have as well, because I think Graham must have mentioned a video that you were coming, and a lot of people found out you were coming to see me through Graham.
Well, I see it in my comments, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how does the Hoof GP know? A, how does he know who I am? B, how does he know I'm coming? Well, I figured you would tell him that I was coming, but
But
Yeah.
Graham knows all the agriculture. Like, Graham,
Yeah.
Graham is a YouTube master. Like, he
Yeah.
knows all the big farming
knows.
YouTubers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's always watching.
yeah.
He's competitive.
You have to be watching if you're
He likes to be the top.
if you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
Like I shake my head a little bit about people that want to have YouTube videos posted, but they never consume YouTube. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
You need to understand the platform. Like
Yeah, and
really need. It's its own. It's
And
not the
consistency,
same. It's
too.
not and consistency.
And one thing with me, I used to pick a YouTuber and then chase them down and then pick another one to try and beat. Never yourself because you were so far away. But, I had in my head one day I'll catch you, but you were always so far away. But
Yeah.
like I'd pick people like, I try to think who it was at the start. Before that video went viral, I was trying to chase down I Farm, We Farm, which is a
Yeah.
chap in
yeah.
Ireland, Adrian, dairy farmer in Ireland. Brilliant videos.
Okay.
Just does like a Sunday video. Just a normal farmer, fixes loads of things
Yeah.
and he's just really good,
Yeah.
speaks really well. But he was like not that far ahead of me, and I could see I was getting subscribers
Closer.
faster than him.
Yeah.
So he was my target. I thought I'll gain on him
Yeah.
because he'd blew up really fast. So
Yeah.
just great content.
Yeah.
I thought chase him down, and then all of a sudden did that video, boom, I was
Over.
over, but it felt so cheap to me because
I know.
he was still actually ahead of me.
I know.
But now I looked like I was 3 times his
I know.
followers, which it wasn't.
Yeah.
He's still getting more views in these
Yeah.
videos. Even today, he still gets more views in these videos than I do, even though I have 3 times the subscribers. And it's all about views. It's not about subscribers.
Yeah. And I'm a big one for that too. Like I'm always looking at like the bigger farming YouTubers, and I'm like, their audience is so loyal.
Yeah.
Like Zach Millennial Farmer.
the farmer.
He has
Millennial,
he has a
yeah.
lot of subs, but he has so many views on every single video, and I'm like, that is a loyal audience. Whereas mine's like, I like what she's doing today. I'll watch that one. Oh, she's lambing. I'm gonna watch those ones.
But then,
Yeah, but you're-
she's in the field.
You're pretty consistent when you stick to your content.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little tougher when you're.
But it's like it's much lower than the American, like the main ones that everyone's like.
but then
just
you cannot beat, no matter
starry-eyed.
what we do, you
No.
cannot beat sexy equipment.
No.
You cannot beat a
True,
$1 million pound tractor.
And to be
Yeah.
quite honest, I'm not sure that's who I'm targeting as my audience.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
But
like
what I
it
mean is
never
you
really
cannot,
was.
like,
But yeah,
the
so you're
context
right.
doesn't have to be anything.
No.
For like Zach's videos, like just watching a massive Arctic lorry pull in and get filled with grain
Yeah.
is enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's big machinery.
Yeah.
Like Grassmen, another example. Grassmen are huge because they have a great repeatable format. Like
Right.
equipment's constantly getting
Yeah.
improving,
Yeah.
advancing.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
You stick a drone up and watch guys chopping
Yeah.
silage. Even I watch it.
Yeah.
Combining
Yeah.
Yep.
with a drone. It's great content.
And
It's
and
so
yet-
enjoyable to
and
watch.
It's funny you said that because like I'll use Zach as an example because like we really like
Do you know Zach? Have you ever spoke to Zach?
never.
Not-
He's DM'd me once when Jess was not well.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I thought that
He seems
was
like a good
really.
guy. Graham spoke to him,
That's what I
think.
mean.
Yeah.
I think out of all of them, like we don't know any of them really. I know a few, but for him, just the way that he does his content, like we can just really relate sometimes.
very
Like some of the
relatable.
little under his breath little
Quips.
and stuff. We're like, yep. So I think I like watching him because I'm waiting for him to say something. Like I like how he is and how his wife is. Like I like that rapport, but I'm after the human element. I don't really care what he's driving.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care that he's planting corn. Like
Yep.
we do that. Like
Yeah.
I like his interactions with his kids and his wife, and so that's why I watch it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I've said Lizzie's now started a channel that's like, and I want her to push the family element because actually the biggest channels on YouTube, a lot of them are, well, it's either idiots doing stupid stuff like Logan Paul and that, or like family channels.
Yeah. Oh
where it's
yeah.
Follow the kids growing up
Yeah.
because the kids love watching other kids doing
Yes.
things, and the parents love, the mums love, maybe not so much the dads, but the mums love watching it. And if you can get that, and it's such a loyal following because they watch
Yes.
these kids grow up.
Yes.
Like we have the Yorkshire Shepherdess,
Yes.
who is by far the biggest apart from Jeremy Clarkson, is by far the biggest farming star
Right.
in the UK, like,
Right.
without a doubt. Like Jeremy Clarkson is the biggest, but he's not really a farming
Right,
star.
no.
He's a
He's our
motoring star.
He's our
Yeah.
entertainer.
yeah. And we maybe have Caleb Cooper, who's probably
Yes.
he's probably next after,
Yeah.
or maybe overtaking Amanda now because she's off the TV a bit.
Right.
But the Yorkshire, do you know the Yorkshire Shepherdess?
I think I follow.
She has like 9 kids.
Her. Yeah, I don't. I think
Yeah,
I follow
but
her.
it was huge. But that was because of the family. It wasn't
Yes.
the farming.
No.
It was actually
Yeah,
the family element
definitely.
that folk love. So we're trying to do that a bit more with Lizzie. But listen, I'm very conscious we've been well over the time here. A bit of touch on it. How has Scotland been so far?
Oh, I love Scotland.
Do you?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You have to say
I'm
that.
coming back. No, I love
How
it
long
here.
are you here for?
Immediately. Like immediately
Yeah.
we loved it. I love the people. Like even the lady at Tesco yesterday was just like I could have just sat and had a beer with her.
Yeah.
She was just everybody's just so
I think we are quite famous for being very friendly.
very
Well, yeah.
and like easygoing.
I like to
friendly.
think as
Oh, yeah.
Not
Canadians,
like
we're pretty friendly
performative
too.
Friendly.
Yeah.
It's like actually
I just
Yeah.
find there's a lot of commonality with Commonwealth countries.
Right, okay.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then from traveling in like Australia, New Zealand, and the first time over here into the UK, but into Scotland too. It's just like, I don't know. There's a certain
sense of home, which is weird. Like
I think
suppose
I-
we are all-
ancestors-
we are all
ancestors.
from Britain.
Yeah, like-
there's
but
there's
there's
like a
something-
kinship there. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
and
But
you
yeah.
felt it in Nuffield.
Yeah,
your Nuffield studies. But,
Yeah,
Folk, the Irish are very famous for being friendly, and
Yes.
Scottish are basically,
Yes.
well, the same, two sides of the same coin type
Yeah.
thing. It's, we're very, very similar.
Yeah.
Well, the Welsh as well. English are very friendly too, I must say.
I think the biggest thing
They just have history.
being
unfriendly.
the biggest thing what we really liked yesterday was when Crawford you said everything's by handshake, and you said it too yesterday.
Yeah.
A handshake sometimes is all that is required.
Yeah,
here.
most farming deals and rentals
and
and
you
things.
don't don't see that at
It's
home.
just a handshake and
we
trust and
Used
we
to,
used to, but
but-
we're very influenced by American agriculture
Yeah.
and American style of business, and the larger farm operations now have just gotten away from that.
But then
I don't wanna-
see
I don't
you
wanna
get
be-
big scale and big money. It
Yeah.
can't be a handshake.
Yeah,
A little
Yeah.
bit of ground
It's
rented
too
or,
big.
or,
Yeah.
or 50 sheep
Yeah.
sold
Yeah.
is one thing, but when it gets into tens of thousands, it
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
be. I'm not saying it is.
No,
you know,
no,
it's
but-
small,
But I
small
guess
deals are.
that's you just
Yeah, there's a-
I guess it was refreshing a little bit because it's
Yeah.
like
I think we do have a good trust thing in
Yeah.
farming and
Community.
because we're very tight community. Everybody knows the rogues. Do you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Everybody
we
knows
Yeah.
we have
the
we have
rogues.
those challenges as well.
yeah.
Most foragers don't supply sheep and cattle with enough cobalt, copper, iodine, and selenium, critical to digestion, immunity, reproduction, and growth. When it comes to supplementation, there's a danger of under or oversupply. But when bolusing with Animax Tracesure, you can be sure every animal has enough for up to 6 months in one single application. Animax, giving what it takes.
So before, the one thing you haven't had in Scotland yet, and I brought some here,
Uh oh.
is
Barely done my latte.
Iron Brew. Now, an interesting fact we will have a lot of Canadians and Americans watching because you guys are here. An interesting fact about Iron Brew. And this is Iron Brew Extra, which isn't. It's a poor representation, but it tastes the same, does it? Ashley behind the camera drinks it. There's no sugar, but
So
it tastes the same.
what is this?
But people argue that Iron Brew is slightly ruined because we brought in a sugar tax in the UK, and there was so much sugar in the old Iron Brew that it made it so expensive they had to change the recipe a bit.
So this is diet.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Coke Zero. It tastes the same,
Nice.
but there's no sugar.
Okay.
Now, Scotland is the only country in the world.
So is this pop like soda?
Yeah, soda.
Okay. Thought it was beer.
Scotland, well, kind of an Iron Brew, yeah, it could. It's the only country in the world where Coca-Cola is not the number one soft drink.
Oh, this is what you were talking about last night.
Yeah.
So this is it.
This is it. This beats Coca-Cola, and we're the only country
We'll
in
have
the
a
world.
taste. You should have Coca-Cola and that and blindfold us.
Oh no,
Oh no, it doesn't
it's
taste
nothing.
like it.
Okay.
It's not like cheap Coke. This is nothing.
It's nothing
Is it-
close.
they're
It's
just
nothing
not
close.
taste-
Do you know the
at
best
all.
thing about Iron Brew? I couldn't even explain to you
No.
What it tastes like.
It tastes like Iron Brew.
Okay.
Yes, what does it taste like? It just tastes like Iron Brew.
Okay.
You know, and
And it's only here in Scotland.
no,
can't
you get
Oh,
it
you can get
worldwide,
it.
but it's
Okay.
it's not very popular anywhere
Okay.
else. For
It's very popular here.
yeah,
Oh, is it?
this is why we have so many
It's
gingers.
orange.
quite bright.
This is why we have so many gingers. And for those wondering behind
So
the
many
camera,
gingers.
Ashley, who drinks this, that's what happened to Ashley. She used
Is
to
that
be,
how? I was
Yeah.
gonna say you don't have to do any color refreshing. No toner on that hair at all.
Yeah.
she used to be blonde. So okay, here we go. So have a little sample there and see what you
Cheers.
think.
And tell us what it tastes like.
Smells like gum. Tastes like there's not a lot of fizz.
It's
Yeah, there is.
tastes like bubble gum.
It tastes like bubble gum.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Right.
Like
It has a strange
do you know what
aftertaste.
do you know what it reminds me of? When those health nurses used to bring in the wash for your teeth,
oh
fluoride
my god,
rinses.
fluoride rinse.
That's what this tastes like.
It tastes like a fluoride rinse.
But I used to like it because I'm like, my mom like would never feed us sugar.
like it's
and it was
quite
like,
good.
Oh, this
it's sweet.
It's drinkable.
very
Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
The,
sweet.
the actual original iron brew is like really because we used to do it in glass bottles, big glass bottles. That's how
Okay.
we used to drink iron brew, and it was like full of sugar. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's a kind of diluted down version. But
It tastes like almost like a cream soda.
it's like a cream soda mixed with Red Bull,
Oh,
mixed with
it actually
bubble
has a
gum.
kind of Red Bull. Red
Yeah.
Bull
maybe
twang.
a
I
Red
could
Bull,
see that.
sort of.
I don't know. It's good. Like
This is the problem. It doesn't really. It just tastes like iron brew.
Yeah.
It's iron brew.
yeah.
So it's drinkable.
It's
You've not
drinkable,
offended.
yep.
Listen, I don't drink it. I'm a Coke. I don't drink any of that really. I drink Coca-Cola if I was going to have any of them. But I'm not really an iron brew fan for whatever reason. But we have
There
a
you go.
gift here from
Yeah.
Canada as well.
Yeah, you don't have to open it here.
Yeah.
You can save it.
Oh, we could. Does it need to be saved? Is it very, very special, or could we drink
No,
it?
you
No,
can
it's
drink
not.
it.
Yeah, okay,
It's
that's fine.
not
We
very,
don't-
very special.
It's not like
We
a.
just
It's
thought
not
it
like a
was-
24-year-old Macallan or something.
No,
No.
no.
Right.
This
Let's.
is just.
Is it a whiskey?
It is a
It is-
whiskey.
and it. Does it say
I'm
what it-
gonna let you.
Yeah, we'll let you just have
Let
a
me
look.
try it.
quick-
Yeah, let you try it. See what you
quick
think.
little-
I'm guessing I should be diluting it with something.
No.
No,
Iron brew.
No, appreciate it, Cammy.
I have actually drank this straight.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were obviously quite a girl back in the day.
She was a bit of an animal.
Can't say I do it so much anymore.
It's like a. Like a Bailey's, like a
Oh,
like
nice.
a liqueur, like a.
Yeah.
Coffee?
It's
Is it
kind of
coffee?
a like,
No?
It's yeah.
Well, it's Canada, so you just
I
got to
can't-
think about what we do in Canada.
Maple
Maple?
syrup. Right.
Yes, well.
It's gonna be sweet. Do you want to try some?
Yeah.
So this is made in Quebec.
That is very good.
Yes.
It's just a nice winter.
It's a winter
sipper.
warm me up. It's a.
That is
We took
very
this.
good.
So my friend brought a bottle
That's
that
very
when
good.
we went winter camping, and it was like the perfect. Like you threw it in a little tumbler.
See, but would you ever have it
Travel.
a little bit of heat? Would you ever have it like in a
Yeah, hot
you have
toddy.
Like a hot toddy?
toddy.
Do you have
Oh,
hot
you
toddies?
could
Yeah, yeah.
easily put
That's
that
a
in
hot toddy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that would be.
Or even in a. I've put that in a hot chocolate.
Yep. Or
Yeah.
on ice cream.
That is very. Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
tastes like a kind of flavor.
like
You would have a flavor
it's
ice
like a
cream.
Oh my
Make-
goodness, I actually like that.
There's no bun.
No, and that's what I hate. You know,
Yeah,
when you
no.
get
Yeah. That's
What
why
straight whiskey would burn the throat off
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but
So it's whiskey
That
and
one's a
maple
little
syrup.
smoother. It's
that's just whiskey and maple syrup.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Not
like
bad.
a
That's
liqueur.
really
almost.
nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Because we
And
couldn't find the whiskey that we wanted to get.
So,
you.
yeah, what
How
is
do you
it?
pronounce it? It looks
I couldn't tell you.
Sortilege.
It's French.
Sortilege, I think.
French Canadian. Like all the best things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll not get-
They're our neighbors.
They'll not get. We'll not. We could just touch on very quickly.
Sure.
See the French Canadian thing. Is it like? What's it? Do we have an example of what that's like in the UK? Not really. Is it like an us and them, or he's quite united? That's enough. Thank you.
And
It's like Cammy,
And cut.
tell me
Open
something.
a can.
Tell
I
me
don't
know
something
how
you
much-
love about the English.
Yeah.
Lizzie. Devon.
when I was
Yeah.
involved in farm politics with grower groups, we would all get into a room and we would try to like work together to try to get an issue through our federal government. And it was like herding cats. You get everyone together. You finally got them on message. You went to Parliament. You went to have meetings, and you'd be at the end of the meeting ready to say goodbye. And the guy from Quebec would just go off the rails and like say something that was just very Quebec centric. So then it gets like, I'm like, what happened to staying
Did we-
on message?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
But they're good.
just
Like,
happened there?
They're very passionate people, and I think that's
I think
And
are they
they-
very Canadian or very French? Like, would they say they're French?
they're French Canadian.
So they're neither. Well,
Neither.
but more Canadian. But they're more
So
Canadian than French.
there was a big
More Canadian
There
than
was
French,
a lot
yes.
of reform talk back in when we were in
they
university in the 90s.
They actually
in the
had
90s.
a vote.
They had a vote to
separate
from Canada in the 90s. Well, I was in university.
And it was a very close vote as well.
So I was drinking with that friend from Quebec, and he was just like,
So it's probably very, very similar to the Barcelona, Catalonia thing, where
yeah.
they're like they're part of Spain, but they're not. And I think they have their own kind of dialect or version of Spanish. So very similar.
Yeah,
then.
like
But they don't have French passports.
no, I think it's Canadian.
No, they're
I don't know.
Canadian.
Yeah, there's
I'm
no-
so,
Nope.
oh my God, it's like another.
The only influence France has on
Yeah.
that is that they speak French.
yeah, so we're a
That's it.
bilingual country. So when you come,
Definitely Ottawa is very French. Like
'Cause
you
it's
should,
beside.
you need to be immersed.
if
in
you
both.
work in, if you want to be a minister,
You have to know French.
you really need to know French.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So if you want to be higher up in the bureaucracy, you
In
need
Ottawa.
to know French. If you want to be, within cabinet, you probably would benefit from knowing French.
So it fairly narrows down what.
Yeah,
politicians
and
you can have.
the hard part is now is that our federal agricultural minister, nice guy, but like he's not bilingual. But agriculture actually has slipped. It used to be like kind of one of the top ministries because agriculture is like big
Huge
in
in
Canada,
Canada, yeah.
but. It's now we call it a second tier ministry almost. So we don't get the recognition that we should for
It's
the
like that everywhere.
GDP
Right?
that we
Yeah.
produce for the country. So it's
And you
pretty
guys are
tough.
causing global warming.
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot there? Cows, blaming the cows. They blame the cows here.
Oh yeah, like it's all over social media. But Canada's
Do you do a lot of green things? Do they plant trees? And
so Canada's very environment forward right now. I would say with
Yeah,
our
we have a carbon
government.
tax.
Yeah, our carbon
we
tax
have
is a
pretty
big
heavy
struggle
carbon
right
tax.
on the farmers?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So any poultry barns that are heated with propane or natural gas have to pay
A carbon
a
tax.
carbon tax. Anything I dry through my
Grain
grain
dryer?
dryer, I have to pay a carbon tax on.
Tell them how much you had to
So we
pay
paid.
this year.
It would have been
In
about
tax.
probably 5,000 pounds that I had to pay in tax.
Tax.
And
Just
then we're
because
To dry,
just 'cause
to
you're
dry
drying
your
it a certain
crop.
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we get paid. We have to pay tax on tax. So it's a carbon tax, and then we
But it's
actually
not
have
tax
to pay.
deductible.
No, then we have to pay HST on that tax.
Oh,
So
This is their
it's like a double. It's just
it's
I think Canadians are very environmentally conscious.
yeah.
And we want to be good global citizens. We just are struggling to find the proper way to do it.
Yeah, I think.
And a
that's-
carbon tax is,
I
we
think
don't
that's
think
global.
carbon
Yeah,
tax is the right
absolutely.
way to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll get there, but carbon tax is not the answer.
No, I think that would cause a serious uproar here. And it may come, it may not. But yeah, good to know it's not just us that are,
No,
are having
no.
issues. Listen, guys, it's been fantastic. We have other things we want to do today before you head off. You're going to see
Yeah.
Hannah Jackson,
Yes.
the Red Shepherdess. She will be on the podcast very soon as well.
Yay.
We're going to get her and Danny nailed down for a chat. That'll be good fun. It's been great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
bloody
Thanks for
pleasure.
hosting
fantastic
us.
host.
Amazing to actually meet you in real life. And it's great that you... I think it was really nice last night you said that you thought I was quite similar to YouTube, the way I'm on YouTube.
Yes.
But like you definitely are as well.
And I think there's a lot to speak to your character when you're in your element and people really do flock towards him. It's not because of his YouTube channel. It's because of who he is. Like
It's your personality.
you are so infectious wherever you are.
getting embarrassed.
And that's not something
Keep going.
like that's not something
and all
that's-
your friends right now said,
that's
"Oh,
not-
his head's just going to swell
I know,
more and more."
and which I love because I said that and to your mentor, your shearing
Yeah.
mentor, and he's like, "Oh, his head's gonna be huge." But you can tell he loves it.
Yeah.
Like you
They
can
give
tell
you
he's very
they give
proud
you a
of
hard time because
Yeah.
they're proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
I guess I could see the pride and the fact that they felt they were very lucky to know
Yeah.
you and like love seeing you there and it was,
and
Well,
we went to United Auctions yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the kind of bit, and everyone
Yeah.
was chatting, and even the auctioneer.
like he stopped
shout,
the auction to say goodbye to him.
Shout out to Richard. Shout out to Richard. I joked I would square him up later. He stopped the middle of the sale to say, "Cammy, thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Good to see you."
like middle of the sale. I was like, oh my goodness.
Even I was getting a bit embarrassed.
Yeah. Bye.
So it made me look so big time. It's like,
yeah.
Cammy's leaving. Let's just stop the sale for a second. Thanks for coming in, Cammy. He is an absolute gentleman, to be fair.
It was nice to see.
Yeah. No, fantastic. So great to see you.
Yep.
Let's go and see some more Scottish stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And that's it. All done for another week. How did that go?
I really enjoyed it. Yep.
Sandy's very much like, for anyone who's watched Sandy on YouTube, she's just the exact same person in real life as she is on YouTube. Like, so she's just so nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, big cheery. She's such an infectious grin. Belly yourself, Iona.
I love how much they love Scotland.
Yeah,
I feel like you can really feel that. They really love
I'm not sure about
Scotland.
what they thought of the Iron Brew as such, but
No.
I must say...
That whiskey. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, I'm just going to get it. Yep. Oh. We've sat it back here. Now, this stuff, I couldn't possibly pronounce it. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it on the screen there. It's Crystalyx. It's very, very nice.
It is so nice. And I hate whiskey.
Yeah, but it's just so sweet. Like I've been nipping away at it now and again. It's a wee...
Tough week.
It's beautiful.
I know.
It really is beautiful. So yeah, thanks very much to them for bringing that. Very kind gifts. And they did bring extra gifts for the kids and stuff as well. Very kind people. They then went off to see Hannah Jackson and Danny. Hannah's the Red Shepherdess, in case you don't know her by her full title. And they had a great time, and now they're back in Canada. So thanks for them for coming over. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Have you enjoyed it?
I have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed doing it with you, Iona.
That's whiskey talking.
Yeah. One dram and I'm away. Thanks again to our sponsors, Crystalyx and Animax Tracesure. That's us for this week. We will see you for the next one.
You've forgotten.
I have.
I've been,
One dram.
I know.
And I'm away with it.
What is that?
You on you go.
Okay. So that's us for this week. I've been Iona.
I've been Cammy.
And we are both
Fed by farmers.